Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we've got a full slate of Steelers news and rumors to cover right here on the channel. First up, Roman Wilson had a setback with his hamstring injury. I'll let you guys know my thoughts on the news that we got on Roman today and what his future with the Pittsburgh Steelers looks like. After what's pretty much a redshirt season, it's looking like for the rookie out of Michigan. Then we'll go into a Bleacher Report article that listed the Pittsburgh Steelers as the #1 trade destination for Cooper Kupp and what kind of trade compensation they think the Steelers should give up for him. And then we'll also talk about Calvin Austin III, and an ESPN reporter has linked Calvin Austin III as a trade candidate for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Should the Steelers trade number 19? I'll give you guys my answer at the end of today's show, and I'll make sure you guys stick around here because later I'm going to tell you something that Colin Cowherd said on a show earlier this week about the Steelers that you simply will not believe. Now, before we get into the news and rumors coverage here on Steelers Talk today, you guys can go give me a follow on X for daily Steelers content at Jack_Sperry. And then also we just started a brand new Steelers Talk official Instagram page where we put out more short-form content on the Steelers on that. That's outside of this YouTube channel. So you guys can go check that out at Steelers CS. So let's get into the content today, man, starting with some bad news here when it comes to Roman Wilson, where he suffered a setback with the hamstring injury that he has been dealing with as of late. And of course, he had that ankle injury. We got all the way back. Then he had a hamstring issue, and now he suffered a setback in yesterday's practice on Wednesday, according to Alan Saunders here. He says wide receiver Roman Wilson suffered an aggravation of his hamstring injury during practice on Wednesday, per a team source. He did not practice today meaning Thursday. So unfortunately, that probably means that Roman Wilson's season is more than likely done. Now, maybe towards the end of the season, he can get a helmet and maybe gets on the field. Maybe he carves himself a rollout, but he wasn't really playing much as it was. Brandon Johnson was getting a helmet over him after he re-aggravated that hamstring injury, and now that he's re-aggravated it again, it's like, he's going to be out multiple weeks, and then, as Mike Tomlin has said, he's getting on a moving train, and, the train's going to be even further along at that point. Plus, Brandon Johnson has that experience with Russell Wilson, and he can be a pretty decent depth piece for this wide receiver room. And if you add another guy like a Cooper Kupp or somebody else, it's just going to be difficult here for Roman Wilson to really get a helmet for the rest of the season. I think it's going to be more like a Calvin Austin III situation where he's pretty much getting a red shirt season in his rookie season here in the National Football League. But listen, man, now that Roman's gone, I think that increases Pittsburgh's need to go out and get a wide receiver because Roman Wilson is not going to be filling that role this season, it looks like. So going out and getting Cooper Kupp, going out and getting somebody else on the wide receiver trade market before the deadline, I think is just even more of a pressing need now that Roman Wilson is dealing once again with this setback with his hamstring. So get well soon, Roman. If you want to send some love to number 10, spam his number 10, down there in the comments section. We're a community of love, of positivity here on Steelers Talk, man. You never know who watches these videos, man. So, Roman, if you're watching, we love you, and make sure you send your love today by sending those 10s in the comments section. So now let's get into a Bleacher Report article here centering around Cooper Kupp and the destinations that he may end up with. And Bleacher Report listed the Pittsburgh Steelers as the #1 destination for the former All-Pro wide receiver. And of course, we've talked about Cooper Kupp a ton on the show this week, but this is what Alex Ballantyne thinks that the Steelers should give up for the former All-Pro Ram receiver. Let's not get too fancy here. If the Rams want a second-round pick for Kupp, the Steelers would be wise to oblige. The Steelers have been no stranger to wide receiver trade rumors in recent months. They were one of the most popular hypothetical trade destinations for San Francisco 49ers wideout Brandon Ayuk during the offseason, and they were also connected to Davante Adams before the Raiders shipped him to the Jets. The Steelers need another receiving threat to pair with George Pickens to be taken seriously in the AFC. Both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields have shown promise at quarterback, and the defense has not been the problem in Pittsburgh. And then also in this article, 4 other teams that were listed as potential destinations for Cooper Kupp: the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Chargers, the Commanders, and the 49ers. Now, I think the team on this list that you really need to be watching out for, guys, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, they just lost Chris Godwin for the season with a dislocated ankle, and Cooper Kupp can fill his role perfectly in the slot. So look for the Buccaneers to also be very aggressive to potentially go get Cooper Kupp to help Baker Mayfield and that offense, especially now that Mike Evans, I should say, is dealing with an injury there in Tampa. But when it comes to Pittsburgh, man, I don't necessarily think the Steelers need to send a second-round pick for Cooper Kupp. Now, if it comes down to it and the Rams are like, hey, man, you need to give us a second-round pick or we're not going to trade him to you, then at that point, I'm willing to do it. Okay, I think Cooper Kupp is the type of player that can change the fortunes of this franchise, not only this year, but in future seasons. But how about this hypothetical, man? If the Rams come up to Omar Khan and they're like, you know what? Tampa's offered us their third-round pick. That's the highest they go. We like their third-round pick better than the prospects of your third-round pick. You have to offer us your second or we're not dealing with you. In that scenario, are you taking the deal or are you not? For me, I am. I think that Cooper Kupp is exactly the type of guy the Steelers need to go get, no matter what the price tag is. Now, let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Would you trade a second-round pick for Cooper Kupp? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. In just a second here, I'm going to be telling you about our friends at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. And while I'm talking about today's sponsor, go down there in the comment section and give me a yes or a no. So let's talk about Mando Whole Body Deodorant here. And guys, let me ask you a little bit of a weird question, okay? How do you deodorize your balls? Most people will just use soap in the shower or even put some cologne down there, but after a few hours, that smell starts to fade and a less desirable smell starts to come up. Lucky for you, our friends at Mando Whole Body Deodorant have come up with the perfect solution with their brand new spray deodorant. It won't irritate your sensitive bits because the first ingredient is water, not alcohol, and it's proven to control odor for 72 hours. It also has a 360-degree spray and works upside down. So it's perfect for getting this stuff anywhere on your body from any angle. Take advantage of Mando's special offer just for Steelers Talk listeners, which gives new customers $5 off their best-selling starter pack with code CHAT at shopmando.com. So if you guys want to see what some of these products look like, this is what their deodorant spray looks like. They got the 360-degree sprayer, and it's absolutely fantastic. Also, the smell is awesome. It's bourbon leather, so it's kind of like a cologne quality scent. It doesn't smell all musty and kind of like soapy or anything like that, like some other spray deodorants. Plus, there's also great products that you can get in the starter pack, like this mini body wash here that's also bourbon leather. I got a big bottle of this in my shower at home. I love the way it smells, and it keeps me smelling fresh for up to 72 hours. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers because it comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like you can pick a body wash like I just showed you, or they also have awesome deodorant wipes as well if that's more your thing. Plus, you get free shipping. Luckily, I have a discount code that'll help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market today. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. So use code CHAT at shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. It's time to smell better naked with Mando Whole Body Deodorant today. So speaking of Steelers trade rumors, most of the time it's about players the Steelers are acquiring, but there's a new recent rumor out there from ESPN's Brooke Pryor where she listed Calvin Austin III as the only player on the Steelers roster that she says could get traded before the NFL trade deadline. Now, to be fair to Brooke, she did say that this is unlikely, but this is what she had to say. The only scenario that makes Austin or any other Steelers player a tradable asset is if trading him away gains a more established player at the position. Could Pittsburgh package Austin with a late-round pick to acquire a solid number 2 receiver? Now, listen, man, personally, I'm not in favor of trading Calvin Austin III, okay? I think he's been awesome on film getting open. Now, is he a legit number 2 receiver? You can argue no because he's only like 5'9", 5'10". He's such a tiny target where even though he gets open all the time, he definitely doesn't have the best let's say, range of catchability for him, okay? So you have to pretty much put it on him. He needs to be relatively wide open. But you look at the numbers here throughout this season, 21 targets, which he has converted to 11 catches, 203 yards, and a touchdown. He had that really long touchdown from Justin Fields in the Chargers game. He's had a couple real nice chunk plays, but as I've complained about on the show quite a bit, especially when Justin Fields was the quarterback, Calvin Austin III hasn't been getting the ball enough. I think that he is getting open all the time on film, and that trend continued even with Russell Wilson on the field in Week 7 versus the New York Jets. This guy was getting open a lot, and, he only had one catch on the day. Yes, he did have that one drop early in the game, which you don't want to see, and, Calvin doesn't have the best hands in the world. He's not much of a contested catch guy, so he needs to be open, but the thing is, he is getting open, so I do think that he could be a really good wide receiver 3 option for the Pittsburgh Steelers, a big play threat. Now, if you can add another receiver to this group, like a Cooper Kupp or a Darius Slayton or maybe a Jacoby Myers or even Mike Williams, that would allow Calvin Austin III to really settle into his role as a big play threat at the number 3 position instead of being a true number 2 receiver in the current formulation of the Steelers wide receiver room. So that's where I'm at with Calvin Austin III. Now, before we go here, I did promise you guys something from Colin Cowherd, and he actually complimented the Pittsburgh Steelers on his show this week. He even put them number 9 overall in the NFL in his herd hierarchy this week. This is what he had to say about Russell Wilson's Pittsburgh Steelers. It's the Russell Wilson Steelers. They looked good. I mean, they outscored the Jets 24-0 in the second half. I'm sorry, that's impressive. When they play at home, Russell Wilson doesn't turn the ball over, can be pretty good in the red zone, have a home run threat in Pickens, a Super Bowl winning head coach. Najee Harris, I've liked for years. So listen, man, as we know, and as we've covered on this show, Uncle Colin hasn't been too favorable of the Pittsburgh Steelers, constantly talking about how they're an outdated organization. Mike Tomlin is an outdated old head coach that they need to replace. And, he said a lot of stuff about the Steelers, even saying at one point that he thought this team this year would only win 5 or 6 games. But now even he is coming around here, and he's even putting them in the 9 to 10 win category, which of course would be a playoff berth or something close to it for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if Colin Cowherd is starting to come around to the Pittsburgh Steelers, you know that this is one heck of a football team that we have on our hands right now in Pittsburgh. So fill in the blank for me down there in the comment section. The Steelers are a top blank team in the NFL today. For me personally, I think they're a top 8 football team. That would be my answer. Right now, I have them ranked 8th on my current power rankings. If Russell Wilson continues to play well, I could see this team certainly climb up that ladder even more in the weeks to come. But right now, I think they're a top 8 football team in the National Football League. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Really do appreciate you guys sticking around with me to the end of today's news and rumors segment. I will catch you guys tomorrow with more Steelers content for free right here on Steelers Talk. So until then, here we go, Steelers.